Okay, so there was a bigger video I want to do about FNaf 2 and 4, and I kind of just realized it's going to take forever to finish that video because it's 45 minutes long. So this is going to be a little video to hold people over. Here's a collection of some MoltenMCI Mini-theories I've thought about. A somewhat lesser known fact is that this sprite of Mangle, I think it's the sprite, Click Team file names can be really weird. Whatever. This thing's called He Was Here, and it's a fact I've been toying with in the corner of my head for a while now, until I thought of putting it in the perspective of William's greater character in the narrative with him. Is the leap of William knowing, hey, spirits can possess suits, to, I can melt down their metal and inject them into new creations to make them supernatural. Now granted, FNaf 2, and I've been aware of this for a long time, has always had the soft edge to this with the idea of something borrowed something new. The idea that the old animatronics are reused for parts for the new characters, and the new characters borrowing those parts are haunted through said parts. Bone Guy literally states this is what the classics are used for, it's why they're in the building at all. And if you think about it, Mangle as the character destroyed the most should have the most reused parts from the original characters. And then that got me thinking, he was here. William was the night guard and then later day guard of the establishment. He's the one who states the characters tried to move and get into his office. And I think this is the crux of our little mini timeline / side story with Mangle here. After Mangle is destroyed by kids genuinely, maybe the first couple times, or just once even, Funtime Foxy becomes more unstable and active than the other characters. This leads William to a new idea and kind of theory. Notice how Mangle keeps breaking down. Like, Phone Guy makes this whole deal about how Funtime Foxy kept being destroyed and kept having to be put back together, how it was so taxing they just had to leave her there in a pile of parts. I wonder if, like I said, after the first time or so, every time Funtime Foxy gets destroyed, it's William doing it intentionally, planning on having the other employees put him back together. That way he can continue his research on the idea of, hey, this thing started moving around when it shouldn't have, and now I can see that it's because of the old part. And as the night / day guard, he has complete control over this information. It was just those damn pesky kids messing with the gender-fluid albino pirate fox. This would just in general add to why Mangle is so unique compared to the other character. Why can it climb on walls? Why can it see through the mask if it gets inside the office? Why is it moving around during Save Them? Overall, this idea of Mangle being unique for some reason is answered here. It also potentially explains why the Funtimes have this white and pink gimmick in the first place. They are named after and a loose homage to his first success and learning about the proof that something could be transferred from the old suits to new ones. Funtime Foxy is basically the inspiration for the MoltenMCI project overall. This would explain why in the first place we even have two Funtime Foxies. One is made in the image of the other. Is sister location Funtime Foxy Mangle? I don't think so. We see Mangle's mask and some parts in the box in FNaf 3, and the toys were supposed to be destroyed, so unless William got access to the destroyed toy parts, I don't see how. But kind of also because Mangle is possessed by the MCI kids, and the MCI kids are the ones who are in the Funtime, so I don't think it's the same physical animatronic, I guess is my point. Even if the Silverized graphic novels did that for some reason. The original books do that? I don't remember the original books doing that, but hey, the graphic novel definitely did. And this does make me wonder with the whole idea of something borrowed something new, if, and this would be to a drastically lesser extent, MoltenMCI was part of the original FNaf 1 through 3 narrative. Now, what I think this beta version would look like would be something like, oh, William in 2 learns about possession and how it can be transferred, then he goes back to the old location, tries to get the parts, and dies before he can do anything with them. Part of what makes the bad ending is that those stolen parts are still out there, and that means possession can be transferred by anyone who stumbles upon them and learns of their properties. Part of why the soul is moving on is so important is to prevent anyone from learning that secret and continuing that work. If the souls leave, there's nothing left to be transferred, hence good ending. Not only is it good that the souls were freed in general, but no one can harm them ever again. Another random idea that plays into MoltenMCI and MoltenMCI Alter S is the trivia of people finding that in Help Wanted, there's this pile of 4 endoskelets. Rytoast and a lot of people on Reddit already did topics on this. The idea is 4 endos in a furnace in the sister location bunker. Kind of implies the idea of, hey, 4 things have been melted together to make something here, or at least are there for some reason. Something kind of funky about them is that they're somewhat composite versions of the Endo 01 and Endo 02 designs. Help Wanted's a little funky with endoskeletons anyway, it seems like. Kind of hard for me to verify because Help Wanted is the one FNaf game I don't currently own. But hey, 4 endos being melted together at all could be a hint towards MoltenMCI. Or maybe they put it in the game because it looked cool, who knows. It's a little tricky in general when in-universe this is a video game made by people just going off of old information. So it kind of depends on whether Silver Parasol / the new development team knew about MoltenMCI, which also could explain why Ennard's still around, because if they only knew, hey, 4 endoskeletons were melted and not what they were melted for, that could explain why the Ennard's there, because they just think Ennard's its own thing, maybe, or who fucking knows what's going on here. It's just a funky topic in general. The fact that they do have a Springlock endoskeleton model and it's not here currently also could be a point towards MoltenMCI Altarest. Hell, there's not even a 5th filler endoskeleton to represent Golden Freddy, and there's not like a Golden Freddy mask around or anything. So if this is implying MoltenMCI, it does also kind of imply that there's no Golden Freddy here, unless you really cling to the novels verse in this context. Here's something I thought about during a FNaf 1 through Sister Location stream. Baby's quote, "Something bad happened yesterday. Something bad always happens," combined with the 5 spirits in Happiest Day, the 5 other spirits in Happiest Day. Now, granted, these could just be like set dressing or filler other characters loosely, but they're characters that don't perfectly line up with any other roster. I know the mediocre melodies are commonly associated with them, but Blue McPig and Green McSnoot here don't really line up with the mediocre melodies that great, even if the colors can loosely be associated with Happy Frog. Bluey over here has no association with any character, really. Hell, even the other ones only really work if you kind of squint at them. Except for you, Pink Pig. You knocked it out of the park. I mean, maybe they're the mediocre melodies. It wouldn't invalidate the point I'm about to make, which is Babies is a rental service for helping out other restaurants, locations, and local parties to have high-quality animatronics or characters in them at all. That's part of the point of Chica's Party World. It's another location that rents out from Circus Baby's Pizza World. There's also Institutes, or whatever this place was in the source code. And who knows how many other places have been scheduled to have these characters over the year. And if Chica's Party World also had animatronics, and the mediocre melodies are low-budget, common, cheap animatronics that any location could have, and who knows what already other characters exist in this world, that could overall imply with Baby's location that these spirits and masks are of kids killed at those locations by the automated Funtime system. They've just been killing kids on loop for who knows how long, with 5 of them being represented in Happiest Day. This makes the Funtime killing system a little less random of a plot line in the case of MoltenMCI, as it means they were successfully killing kids on loop for ages. Granted, you would think there would be more kids here, or maybe less kids, depending on how the hell this all worked. But overall, the idea of Molten Freddy having 10 collective souls really adds to its molten angle. It's overflowing with so much possession and so much heat that it's literally staining and warping the metal red, we can see this around its design, and causing it to melt and almost fall apart. Now, it could just be that something bad is that the animatronics are messed with to like reset their aggression or something like that happens. It's kind of unclear what exactly they do to keep the Funtimes in check after they get aggressive. But hey, I think the automation abomination theory is somewhat plausible. Another little thing I thought of while playing Ennard's minigame over and over for the footage in the new video is I forgot how much Sister Location characterized Elizabeth as looking up to William. Like, listening to some of the lines, knowing her story is genuinely kind of dark.
I know it was an accident. Isn't this why you came here? To be with me again? I don't understand. Everything is okay. I'm still here.
Now, I know there's debate about whether William cared about his kids or not, or anything like that. But oh boy, did he convince Elizabeth that he did. A lot of these lines do help bridge the gap between Sister Location Elizabeth and Scrap Baby. I've heard some people argue that they don't act similar, and to an extent, they're right. Baby doesn't always act like Scrap Baby does. But listening to this dialogue with that context, you can see how these strings were already in place and this connection was already starting to build. Especially with this being post-Scoop Baby and Elizabeth, which you can see me discuss in these videos. Overall, I hope this was a nice little collection of mini-theories to hold people over while the bigger videos are being worked on. You can also look out for the FNaf TCG video to come out sometime. I don't really know when, probably after the FNaf 2 and 4 video's done. But for now...